Hey guys, I thought it would be fun to do a rig walk around. Um, Things I've done up to this point. I've had this 4Runner for many years, didn't modify it for a long time, and because it's very capable stock, but I thought I'd do a little walk around, show you everything is kind of a work in progress, but I'm really happy so far with how everything's working. The changes I've made that are functional, and that's always my first consideration is safety and functionality and practicality and why I've made the choices I have. So we'll start at the front and we'll work our way back, and I'll talk about what I've done and what I want to change and improvements I want to make. So I do a lot of solo travel. So at the front I do, because I solo travel, do run a winch just for safety and those just in case moments. And these lights down here are actually turn signals. And talking about practicality, these are just lights that are available in truck stops. They go on truck trailers. So if I break one, and they are LEDs, so they should last forever, but if one breaks, I can get one at a truck stop anywhere. Easy to replace. It's not from Amazon or somewhere difficult. So if I'm far away from home, any truck stop will have them. Easy peasy. So I had to change those when I took off the factory bumper and I lost the factory turn signals. I got hella off-road lights. They're incandescent. I don't like the bright white of LEDs, but I might change it at some point. But I think that I like the color of incandescence better, but I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it, but they work for now. They work really well. And they're not too big where they block off too much cooling for the grill, so for the radiator. I did go with a Smitty-built winch. I ran one for many years, and finally it just, something to know with the cheaper winches is the contacts in the solenoid and stuff just got all corroded, and it got bad, and other things started getting corroded. So I take them apart every couple of years, re-grease it, and seal it up. Use some RTV or something like that, and make sure it's all sealed up. There's how-to videos on YouTube. Not as good about that as like Warn is and stuff like that. If you can afford a Warn, I'd go with it for sure. But Smitty-built has served me well so far, so I'm happy with that. Headlights I've left factory because if I'm far away from home and I break one, they're not the best, but on high beam they're okay. But if I'm far away from home, I can replace them at any auto parts store. I don't have to worry about how to get it. If I got it from a shop or Amazon or something like that, I can just stop somewhere, grab a new set, and put it in, no big deal. And between that and the off-road lights, I have enough light. So, and I don't put lights on the roof because of clearance issues. So I just don't want to break them. A lot of where I go, like even this rig is not big, and it's still scraping stuff along each side and along the roof and everything. So just for clearance and not breaking stuff. Next is tires. I went with Mickey Thompson ATZ P3s, and they're 31s on 15-inch rims, and I'm super happy. They're a crossover between mud terrains and all terrains. I love them. As I mentioned in another video, availability is a thing. My shop had to order these in. They didn't have them in stock, where like Coopers and BF Goodrich's are always in stock. So if I do have to replace one out on the road, that might be a thing. So it's something I'm considering, but I'm sticking with them for now, at least until they wear out. So, but yeah, great tires. They've held up well. Have never had a puncture with them. I've aired down a lot, been on rough terrain and all kinds of different terrain out west, in the American West, and they're great on the highway. Thousands of highway miles, thousands of off-road miles, and so far I'm super happy. Not quite as good as all terrains in the snow on the street or ice. They're a little slippery, but not as bad as mud tires, so I'm good with that. I did a video on the manual locking hub swap, so you can look for that video. But that's, to me, is something that's important to do. Not required by any means, but just saves wear and tear on the front drive line and gives me more flexibility in operating in four-wheel drive. Or if I break something in the back, I can choose to run in front-wheel drive, things like that. So, or if the front drive line breaks, if I snap an axle, CV axle, I can disconnect those and zip tie things up and ride home and not have to worry about that four-wheel drive being permanently engaged. So Just some practicality there for sure. Homemade awning and just some Amazon tent poles, some paracord, and then I just use a window washing pole attached to my roof rack, and I made some holes with some cotter pins to attach it, and it's as simple as that. And this is just a nylon awning. I got this one from Bushcraft USA. It's a 10 by 10 years ago. I would maybe consider going to something a little bit smaller though. This is huge. It's not, unless you travel with a lot of people, it's not needed. I'm probably going to get something smaller at some point. So my roof rack is homemade, and I made it out of a step ladder, and I do have solar up there. And so it's 100-watt solar, and it is one of those folding ones that I was using before I had the roof rack. I would just stick it out and it would prop up. But since I got the roof rack, I attached it on there just for convenience sake. And so far it works really well. And you could see even on a partly cloudy day, what am I getting here? 23 amps into the battery. On a cheap charge controller, I'm going to upgrade that, and the battery is at 14.1 volts. So it's working good, and it's even, yeah, there's no, the sun is obscured by clouds, and I'm getting 23, so that's, I'll see if I could put this one up on my product links. So I think it was maybe around $100 total. I have that with a deep cycle battery in the back, just in a battery box I made, and then I cut a hole in it and put the different plugs in. Again, I got this off Amazon. So I could turn the switch on, it'll show voltage, and the cigarette lighter plugs and the USB plugs. And then down here I have an inverter that's wired in. I don't really ever use it. And this wiring, yeah, it's going to be clean up. Don't pick on me. This is kind of new installations for the rear, and I'll show you that in a minute. I don't really use it that often, so it's not super necessary. I don't have this wired into the alternator yet, but that's going to change. I'm going to get a DC to DC at some point as funding allows. So I have a fridge, and this by Iceco. I went with that because it has the Danfoss compressor in there with a 5-year warranty. It's a little bit more expensive than the cheapos on Amazon, and probably not as good insulation as the expensive fridges, but it has the same compressor as the expensive fridges. It has the Danfoss compressor, I think it's called, and it is a 5-year warranty, so I went with that. I think this one was around, right around $300. So, and it's 50 quart, a little bit big for what I need, but it's nice. It's got the light inside, so you can see. I had it unplugged so you can see it's got a light there. I had it unplugged because it's colder outside than it is in the fridge. But it has a light for the inside. It has a well in the back for drinks and stuff. It has the basket. And it's not dual zone. I think they have some that are, this brand. But this can go cold enough to be a freezer if you so choose. Got a little mesh bag here hanging for laundry, dirty laundry. Oh, in the back, 4Runners are notorious for riding a little low in the back, the old 4Runners. So I did level it out with a spacer, a Daystar spacer. It's like 1.5 inch lift. That's for now. Eventually, I like how it sits. It's still a little low in the back when fully loaded up with gear for more than one person. So eventually I'm going to switch to old and Emu springs in the back for a better ride, more flex, more articulation. So that's going to change at some point. But for now, it's up a little higher, and I'm happy with that because it was sagging with gear. I love the old 4Runners because it has a tailgate, so I don't have to carry a table. This is my water setup. I just made some wood things for it to sit in, and then the strap goes around and goes through the handles and straps down that way. And then just a pump from Harbor Freight, just to pump water out. So it's, what are these, 6 gallons each? Reliance from Walmart, and they're BPA free. And I've been using these a couple years, and they're tough, no leaks, and they're good. So And then I got a box there. All my camping gear and dry food and stuff all fits in that one box, and it just fits between the fridge and the water just right, so it's just the right size. It's a little bigger than I'd otherwise use, but it just because it fits there, it's fine. So this is my solo camping setup. This side I have my bed, and I just use wool blankets and a memory foam mattress that folds up for when I need more space. It just folds into thirds, and I just put it against the back seat there, and I have all this bed space still available that way for carrying things. But it's like a 3-4 inch thick memory foam mattress, and it folds up, so it's very portable and works really well. So, and then I added these lights in the back, these camp lights, and I just put these on, and the adhesive from the switch is no good, so I'm going to fix that with some Velcro probably. So it's got white light and also yellow light, and I like the yellow light because it doesn't attract the bugs as much. And these are cheapies off Amazon, and they're working good so far. And I figured, you know, for 40 bucks I'm trying it, because the other ones that had the dual color options were like $300. And if these don't work and, you know, fail after a little bit, then at least the wiring is all done. I wired it really well. Then I could just swap out the lights. The wiring and relays and fuses and everything are all in place already. So that's for camping, and also with the yellow, and then also for backup lights with the white. So, and they're very bright. So I'll link those in also on my page, down in the comments or description, whatever you call it. And then I put in also the same thing here. I put in an LED strip in the back that's yellow and also white. And so for back here, for just nighttime camp setup and cooking and stuff, that light lights up the whole area. I can put just that light on instead of the big bright ones when I'm just sitting here on my own in my chair and cooking and hanging out and reading and stuff like that. That's plenty of light. So these are wired into the house battery, so I can leave them on and not drain the starter battery. The interior lights are wired to the starter battery, but they're LED, so they really don't draw much current at all, so I'm fine with that. Yeah, and just another view. There's the fridge, all my stuff, and the water, and the bed. And just a couple, I put one of these blankets underneath on top of the mattress. And then, yeah, a couple pillows. I use little throw pillows, and a pile of wool blankets. So I got an old military one, and then a trade blanket, and then like a cotton and wool blend for on top. So, and I slept last night. It was 29 degrees, and I was toasty warm. Up front, I have the Go Treads there and tool bag, and they kind of ride up here when I'm solo camping on my own. When I'm camping with multiple people, I could put them in the back, because the back is just for gear, and then I use the gazelle tent for sleeping instead of sleeping in the rig. Got the mount for the tablet and for the phone, and for navigation, all that good stuff, and listening to podcasts and everything. And then aftermarket radio, of course, because the other one was 30 years old. And then this is all my switches. So I have 2 sets of USB chargers here. This activates the panel. And then I have the voltage from the starter battery. And that's nice to have also when the car's running. If it's showing around 14 volts when it's running, that means the alternator's working. If it drops down, the alternator is failing, so I can get kind of a head start on knowing if my alternator's going bad. So, and then this has more USB ports. If I could open it. Yeah, so 2 USBs there, 2 there. And then this is for the rear lights. I can control the rear lights from in back and in front. This is for the front off-road lights, and then this is for turning on the stereo. It's for the outdoor antenna, or the outside antenna mast. So to have that on a separate switch, So that way when I'm off-roading, I can lower that antenna and keep the radio on without breaking the antenna on tree branches and stuff. So, because from the factory you turn the radio on and the antenna automatically goes up. And so that way I could listen to podcasts or whatever and not worry about breaking my antenna. And then just a Cobra CB radio. I'm going to get a ham at some point, just haven't got around to it. And that's about it for the inside, for the cabin. Oh, and down there is the fuse block for all of the switches and everything. The fuses are there, and then I have another fuse block under the hood, and the relays and stuff for the off-road lights and for the lights in the rear, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, upgraded to modern technology with nice fuse blocks and stuff like that. That's really important to do. So I think that about covers it. So far so good. I'm really happy with how it works. Everything is super functional. There's nothing I don't need. I considered I'm going to do another video on kind of recommended mods for old Toyotas for overlanding and off-road travel, and what's beneficial, what isn't. I don't have a fancy rear bumper. I don't have rock sliders, and I'll go into another video as to why all that is so far. Mainly being mindful of weight is an issue. So thanks for watching. I hope that was fun, and yeah, talk to you guys soon. Questions, comments, anything like that, leave below, of course, and I'll leave whatever appropriate links if you want to find out about some of these products that I use and stuff. I'll leave it below. So all right guys, thanks, take care, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.